So here are the settings that I'm using. I'm using a 1070 Ti card with a 2700 Ryzen 7 CPU, 16 gigs of RAM, and an SSD, gigabyte SSD. Now I'm just gonna go straight to the point. My current FPS is 56. Now, look at my settings. 1070 Ti and 2700 Ryzen 7, but I'm using high lighting, high GI, shadow, occlusion, reflection quality. I recommend it to turn to medium because when you turn it to high, it goes to show that reflection is particularly one of the demanding options. Yeah, so that's, for me, that's a lot. 4 FPS, 5 FPS. That's just 53. So I better and the image quality is not that affected because reflection quality only affects the reflective surfaces. So that would be water and some of the specular surfaces. So not that big of a deal. I turn it to medium. Mirror at high, particle at high. Now TA is very interesting because off is actually more demanding than medium. Ah, trivia, huh? I'm gonna set it to off and then show to you that my FPS actually, yeah, look at that, huh? So it dropped. Not that much, but there exists a drop, right? And the reason being, I don't know, but the reason may be that because details are more rendered without the blur. I don't know, I'm not the developer. So I recommend it to medium. High is also another FPS drop, so it's very weird. Off and high are more demanding than medium. Very weird. I don't know why is that happening. FXAA, turn it to on, you know, because I love smooth stuff. For these three volumetric settings, I recommend it to medium because I know some of you are feeling, you know, triggered in their being OC when you see something turned down from a high or ultra setting. But rest assured, medium looks very good for me. A low is where you see things get more blocky. So I recommend medium. Medium doesn't look very much different from high. There is a performance gain, but not that much. However, I'm gonna show you what our FPS would look like if we set it to low. Our previous FPS is 57, right? So you judge for yourself. It's worth it. 50, yeah, 50. You see, it's not that much. 0.5 FPS. I don't know. Still the same for me. So, and these settings do not require restart. So, so these are, I think, these reflections, these updates, when you change the graphics options, are indicative of the real thing, no? Because there's no restart needed. Again, on and off, this doesn't matter actually. So you can turn it on if you want. I've looked at clouds in this game, especially in the part when you search for John. I turn it on and off, doesn't make a difference. Keep this on. Particle lighting quality, keep it at high. Again, I've set it to low. I'm gonna do it again. The FPS is still the same. Soft shadows. Now you judge for yourself. There is a difference, but once again, I'm gonna tell you, 57 FPS is our current benchmark. Set this to off for soft shadows, and we gain 1 FPS. But then the image quality suffers a lot. And note, this is ultra, not just high, huh? So just turn to ultra. It's not a big deal. Gray shadows are high. Doesn't make a difference. Long shadows on. Now, full screen space AO is interesting because it does make a difference, but for me, it's not that big of a deal. turn it off so that you can see. Now, I mean, sorry that I'm using a phone because I don't want to affect my FPS with the recording software. For 58, so that would, oh, so it reached 60, but then you can turn it off if you want to like to reach 60. But for me, I like AO. I just love the shadowing detail that it adds. So I'm gonna turn this on. It's okay. I'm gonna make that compromise. Now, reflection quality, you can keep this on high. There does exist a gain when you turn this to low, but again, it's just very minimal. 57. And obviously, this is a bad place to test the water because there's no water around. But then, that rationale does not help explain why physics quality is bugged. So I give this at medium because when you max this out, it halves your FPS for some reason. This is bugged. I think there's something going on here in this specific level that tanks your FPS. So keep this at medium because it doesn't matter much. You can turn it off if you want. Water is not that prevalent in this game anyway. Sharpening, yeah, doesn't matter much. Reflection MSA A2, just like the mirrors, it acts as an AA in mirrors, just like in GTA 5. So you can just you can turn this at 8. Just keep it at 2 for safety reasons. Now the most interesting part in this graphic settings is just one. It's the grass level of detail. Now look at what happens when I max this. Okay, I think for me this is the biggest hitter. Single most biggest hitter. We're currently at 57, right? 58. What happens when I turn this at max? Look at that. Look at that. It's now 49. That's close to 10 FPS loss. And mind you, I took a screenshot with this. The differences are so minimal. Now I'm talking about miles of grass ahead, which are not that many. But come on. A 9 FPS difference for some amounts of grass. Now, this doesn't affect, for my eyes, the quality itself of near grass. The grass that are near look the same when you turn this down. It's just the far grass assets are lower in volume. However, when you completely turn this off, then a lot of them are missing. So I recommend just one tick, okay? One tick of grass. And the rest of these, I promise you, these do not matter. Tree quality. Fur quality is interesting because this does not matter actually. However, when you go first person, and you zoom in on wolves and animals with fur, there's an FPS drop and a very dramatic one at that, from 50 to like 40 something or 30 something. But then these are outliers, and these happen when you want them to happen, and these do not happen when you normally just do your own thing. So these are the settings that I am using. Take note of that grass level detail. Try it in yours and see if it makes a lot of sense. Now, regarding the Vulkan and DX12, I assure you, Vulkan runs faster. Now, I'm not sure if this is true for the rest of you, but some are saying that DirectX 12 runs faster. I have not seen any evidence that DirectX 12 runs faster. I've seen countless benchmarks from Hardware Unboxed and TechSpot and some other sites, and they all reported that Vulkan runs faster based on the benchmark. However, of course, if you're stuttering in Vulkan, then you have no other choice. Go with DirectX still. So these are my settings, guys. I hope this video is helping you a lot. And also one last thing. Texture. Oh my word, I almost forgot. The very interesting is texture, because these do normally, right? Texture doesn't affect FPS, but in this case, because of the memory requirements, it does affect FPS. And the differences are quite huge. I'm not referring to ultra and low, I'm referring to ultra and high. High and ultra looks a lot different than each other. Ultra textures, when you look at the ground, there's detail, and when you set it down to high, oh my, high is like last gen. There's no detail, and the fidelity of the ground is so low. You can see here the same settings, right? Some of them are high. We have one ultra setting for soft shadows, and just that grass detail. Look at my FPS. It's 60 in the middle of Valentine. Now, some of you remember Valentine is one of those, along with Saint Denis, right? Valentine and Saint Denis are one of those demanding areas in the game, previously reported in the consoles, right? You remember when you look at this specific spot, right? We all remember that when we played even on the PS4 Pro. This would chug, and that had a cap of 30, right? But this is 60, and my usage is at 95, so that means that there's still more headroom. If I turn the cap off, this would increase. 60 is like 64, 63. So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm sorry if it went a little bit long, but if there are any more questions, just ask me and I will try to investigate. Also, just one more last thing. If you're crashing, right? If you're crashing during gameplay, not when you start the game, but if you're just running around and then you immediately crash, and then the infamous Rockstar launcher message of unexpected exit appears, then what you might want to do is check your memory usage, and then just take note of how much memory does your game crash. Now, what I mean by that is, at what point in your memory, what amount does your game start to crash? Because if it's exhibiting the same amount every time you crash, then it might have something to do with memory. Now, the thing that I would do, and this is a very sad pill to swallow, is to set your texture quality to high. Or for safety reasons, you can try it on low first, okay? Try it on low, because low, this is the least amount of memory that's needed. And then try to do your thing on your game. And if it doesn't crash, then most probably it has something to do with texture quality. Because I've tried this previously on these settings at Ultra, and it crashed. It crashed repeatedly, so I tried it on low, no crashes. Now, there's one area that I would recommend you to try, and that would be the prelude area, and not the in-game area, the first cutscene area. The cutscene where there's a caravan, and then Dutch and Jose are talking. When you set this on Ultra, that's the area that the crash would always, I take note, always occur. If it doesn't occur on that, given that you've set different kind of texture quality setting, then most likely your game, most likely, not saying 100%, but most probably your game would be free of crashes. So check your settings and take note of that memory usage, okay? So thank you, everyone. Have a nice Red Dead Redemption. Bah!